and welcome once again to Era Discussions. I am Captain Logan.
America.
Today we're talking about the third episode of the season. It's Corto Maltese. And before we get to Corto Maltese, we're going to talk about some questions and comments from last time, Eric, from Sarah, the really sad, super depressing episode. This could have been called Thea. I'll agree with you. Yeah, sure. Except that right after that, everybody might have thought that we were just mourning Thea this episode. That like, oh well, we killed her off in the last 35 seconds of last episode, and now we're all really sad about it. But that's not what happens. Anyway, you probably know that if you're watching this. So let's get started, shall we? The first question, comment comes from Lydia Kerberos, who says, with all honesty, the whole Thea sighting with Malcolm thing is really bothering me. I get it. Ooh, people I care about have been lying to me, and now the only person I can trust is my murderer of a father who indirectly murdered my half-brother, who I had a crush on, which is creepy in retrospect, and he's going to teach me to be strong, but that isn't character growth to me. That is the bratty, petulant kid looking for attention from anyone who will give her what she wants. It's selfish, it's frustrating, and I wish she had died in season 1 instead of Tommy.
Wait, is that a comment on this episode or last episode?
No, last episode. And so anyway, the comment ends with Thea is an idiot. So importantly, we know more about that now. And that
also Thea aged like 5 years in between seasons 2 and 3.
Do you mean just in what she looks like, or the way she's acting?
No, the way she looks like. Like in season 1 and 2, she looks like she's like 16, and now she looks like she's 25. Like she's like a woman now, and it's weird.
Do you think it was just cutting her hair? Do you think that was enough to do it?
The haircut looks really good on her.
It looks really good. I know. I thought the same thing.
So much so that they mentioned it twice in the episode.
Yeah, it's not the kind of thing I usually feel the need to comment on a lot. You know, I like to discuss story and character and, you know, what shows are about. But the hair looks good.
Well, I do think a lot of times people use haircuts to like try to establish character change and growth.
Absolutely.
And this is the only time I've ever seen it work.
I mean, it's not the only time I've seen it work, but you're right. It's a thing that happens a lot, and we've seen it done really badly in things, right? But I mean, like, you know, you look at, I guess we've been talking about this a lot lately in things, but like, you look at like Wesley Wyndham-Pryce, he gets like an entire, totally different, you know.
Stop wearing glasses because glasses aren't cool.
Yeah, glasses aren't cool. It's really hard to be scary with knives coming out of your arms if you got glasses on. But anyway, just about this comment real quick. I felt the same way before. I am pleasantly surprised that I feel less that way now, having seen this and seeing her rationale for going with him. I'm not saying it totally works. I still question it a bit, but then again, I question her shooting him as soon as he showed up. I still feel like Thea is doing really extreme, rash, kind of looking before she leaps sorts of stuff. And I feel like
she might be like an adolescent whose mom turned out to be evil, her dad cheated on her, her brother disappeared for 5 years, she found out her real dad was a murderer that tried to kill the entire city, and her mom tried to help, and she was trying to get with her stepbrother, like that.
I mean, when you say it like that, it's almost impressive that she hasn't murdered everyone she knows. Yeah. So
and her boyfriend was a vigilante.
But yeah, so obviously.
After promising not to be. So
obviously that's the argument for she's gonna get rash and she's gonna act irrational and that kind of thing. But I don't know. So anyway, we'll talk about that. I feel better about it now, and they got us to a place at the end of this episode where now I have no idea what's going to happen, and so I really enjoyed that. I'm like there's a part of me that's like, you know, there might have been a missed opportunity there in not keeping her with Malcolm, but just of the bare bones, you subverted my expectations. I really appreciated that.
We'll talk about it. I'm worried that stuff in this episode is going to be dumb later.
But is okay right now.
Yes.
Yeah. Weird. Okay. Well. Anyway, we'll get there. But let's answer a few more things here. 5Keeper7 full. So, what does Eric think of Flash so far?
I've only seen the pilot, and I really enjoyed it. And I haven't not seen the other episodes because I didn't like it or didn't want to. I just haven't seen them yet. But I really liked it. It's probably the best hitting the ground running of any of the superhero shows we've had.
I think so too.
In this new wave.
I should mention, too, because and the reason I read that is because a lot of people have been asking me what you think of Flash, and some people even kind of disappointed that you're not on that show. So I want to mention that Eric and I and Dan will all three be doing one big special video when we get the crossover. Here in a few episodes, we're gonna have a two-part crossover between the two shows. And I think that's where Clock King shows up in Flash, which I'm really jazzed about.
Hashtag discussions crossover.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so that week we're going to have Flash and Arrow discussions as the same show. So I just want to throw out a quick plug for that. This is hilarious. Amazing Dictator. Say what? I waited over 2 weeks for Eric, the only man in the world who can express in words my rage for killing Sarah in favor of propping up Laurel. And all I get is, yeah, I don't like it, in the calmest tone possible. I am hurt. It's the darn cigarette, I tell you. It suppressed the anger, but at a cost. And Eric, 8 thumbs ups.
I didn't notice that one.
Everyone is upset that you're not more angry about the Laurel thing.
Well, I kind of like with Thea in the same way. I was like, well, season 2, at the end, they just jumbled everything and just said, this is where we are now?
Yeah.
So I'm not holding it against them. Like, if this is where you say you are now, I'll let you be there now because you say you're there.
I'm going to say this, just to once again, telegraphing, by the time we're done answering these questions, we will have already had the general overview, and we'll just go straight to categories. But I felt more like you did with her this episode. Like, last episode, I still wasn't with it, and then this one, she was okay.
She's much better this episode.
She was okay, yeah. So anyway, we'll talk about all that. McCaffrey, excuse me, I still think Malcolm Merlyn killed Sarah. Take into consideration Sarah and Malcolm Merlyn never met in Starling City while in their Canary and Dark Archer identities due to the fact that she was introduced in Season 2 after the Undertaking, but perhaps they met while at the League of Assassins and they don't know who is outside of the League. That or Nyssa totally killed her. It's probably not Nyssa because she pops in the end of this episode and she's all, where is Sarah? So, wait,
what is this guy's screen name?
McCaffrey?
So is he the one that keeps plaguing my computer with antivirus software?
I don't know what you're talking about.
McCaffrey antivirus?
Oh, is that a thing?
That's a thing.
Oh, okay.
Based on my computer.
Oh, I haven't heard of that one.
My computer's from like 2008, so maybe...
Are you sure?
Maybe it used to be.
Are you sure that's what it is, or are you thinking of something else?
No, it's McCaffrey antivirus. I have it on my computer, and I have to close it every time I restart my computer.
Okay. And anyway, yeah. So Malcolm's too obvious, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in a place right now where I have no idea, and I really like that. Like, I think Malcolm is too obvious, and also her reaction doesn't make sense for Malcolm.
That's what I was going to say, is my biggest thing right now is her reaction. I feel like, of the suspects, we might maybe have Thea's the only one I can buy that reaction for. So I don't know. Unless it's Sarah or Oliver or Diggle.
Wait, Sarah?
Or, sorry, Laurel or Oliver or
So
Diggle
Sarah goes, Sarah's having an out-of-body experience, and she says, what am I doing here? And then she shoots herself with an arrow. I don't know how that happens, Eric. Right now, the only thing for characters we've seen before that makes any sense to me is Tommy got resurrected. And yet, I still think the reaction would be different because she should know he's dead. So that doesn't even...
Might be.
So that doesn't make sense either unless they purposefully are trying to throw us off with the reaction, and the reaction doesn't actually make any sense. And this is happening things. I'm not gonna... I mean, like, the show's good, but I'm not gonna completely put that past them.
That's part of my thing with... There's things about this episode that might be bad later.
I think they could end up doing that too, is just by virtue of there have been places, especially at the end of season 2, where things went in a place that they clearly didn't mean it to go earlier, and people said things in ways that really don't work once you know what really happened. So I don't know, but right now I think it's someone we haven't seen yet. It's the only thing that makes any sense. I think it's a totally new character.
Probably somebody from the League that she has some kind of connection with.
Maybe so, or some major comic book character that hasn't been introduced yet. Anyway, I don't know.
So it's like a breaking the fourth wall. Like, what are you doing here, the Spectre?
Oh, hey, what? I have a question for you. Question? What are you doing here? What
are you doing here, Captain America?
One second. Bushman 1983. Cap, have you noticed that quite often the placement of your can makes the person you are talking to look like they have a can for a body? No, I never noticed that. That's funny. I guess that makes sense. Character rate 134. Diggle is not a superhero, that's why he doesn't have a costume. Yes, you're right. That is the reason. That is the reason.
But he could be.
Pyramid Head, I wonder if Sarah's killer wore shiny shoes.
Mother of God.
Mother of God. McCaffrey again, what about the Ameritech Steel reference? I didn't even catch it. I forgot that was a Steel thing.
I didn't catch it, and I forgot to mention, both in Flash and this, Ferris Air is everywhere. I'm sure we've mentioned that before.
Yeah, and Ferris Air was a Flash thing, and then I think the first episode of Air of the season, we saw it there too, and if we don't get some kind of lantern thing somewhere in one of these shows this season, I'm going to be really surprised.
It makes more sense in Flash.
Because they are making... Well, yeah, but then again, so does the Atom. Because it's just... What I'm saying is, if we don't get, like, a character that is related to Green Lantern somewhere in one of these shows, I'm going to be really surprised this season. Because it seems like they're setting us up for something with all of that. Darth Sandwich. I really, really hate Felicity. And not only that, she has had the most screen time in this season. They also made her the link between Arrow and Flash. Why couldn't they have killed her instead? I've always liked her.
I have too. I will say this season I have liked her less than the first two seasons.
Okay, why do you say that?
I feel like, and this could just be growing pains, I feel like in the first two seasons she had a set, she's the person who they call on the phone that runs all the analysis. Like, she has a role.
Yeah.
And I don't know what she's doing now. Like, they're expanding her role, and I'm not really sure. I don't know why she's still working, why she's working at Queen Consolidated. I don't know what she's doing, or where she's going.
May I suggest that that's somewhat so far the point of this season?
Yeah, but I don't know. There's just something, I don't want to say off about it, but there's something that I'm not liking about it. I'm not sure what it is.
See, I think so far it kind of makes sense because she thought she and Oliver were going to have a thing, and then he's put his Arrow life in front of everything, so that can't happen, but they still need her to do tech stuff, and, I mean, they're calling her all the time still.
Maybe it's just her, like, cutie patootie thing is just wearing thin a little bit.
Maybe so,
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe so. I can totally see why you'd say that. I mean, like, I haven't had a huge problem with stuff yet, but I am... Here's the thing for me. I am resisting a little bit I'm going to work for the guy that took over Queen Consolidated.
I kind of have this feeling that she's either going to die or turn evil.
You think she's going to turn evil? I don't know about that.
This season, I feel like she might die or turn evil just because, like, I feel like right now they're struggling to establish her independence. And I feel like because she's working this really good job and she's getting paid a lot, I almost feel like we're going to get a Whedon thing. Like, she gets the world handed to her and then, you know, a dork runs by and shoots her through a window.
You know what? I don't think that's going to happen. I think because she strikes me as the character in this show that, like, they didn't, the writers and producers didn't expect to do anything with, and they're kind of, like, really into her and in love with her now. I think they're kind of afraid to do anything to her. I don't know. That's the impression I get. If I can make a crazy prediction, I think it's more likely that at some point Palmer goes off and does something else, and she gets the whole company.
Maybe so.
I get the sense right now that they actually know what they're doing with her and we don't, and it feels weird because we're so used to her being in a certain role. I actually don't think that she's in a we don't know what in the world to do with her place. I think they're going somewhere.
Well, I'm not saying they don't know what to do with her. I'm saying we don't know what they're doing with her. And so it might just feel like growing pains. It just feels uncomfortable that she's in a different place, in a different role.
At the risk of going back to a thing that we're kind of done talking about, I didn't think of this one. Chris Price, we forgot about Sin. What if Sin killed her?
And yeah, I did. I completely.
I don't know why that would happen, but of everybody we've talked about, that's the reaction. That's the one that makes the most sense. Holy crap.
Yeah, and we haven't seen her at all this season. I completely forgot about her.
Yeah.
And you'd think even, like at least Roy would still be talking to her.
Several people saying they're annoyed with Felicity now, and I can really kind of see why. We were just talking about that. But the other thing I wanted to mention about that is that it made sense when she was like, I don't want to work for you, Palmer. You're too into me, and you think that you can throw money at anything and that sort of thing. And I think people might be resisting her suddenly switching around and saying, I'm going to work for this guy now. It seems really typical TV stuff.
Well,
she's not irritating me, but I can't decide if that choice is irritating me, is all I'm saying.
I think if they made an immediate... if they made, like, an immediate statement about, from her being like, I'm taking this job because I'll have access to better computers than I do at working at this tech store. You know, I'll be able to get information better. I'll be, hard-lined into things. Like, something like that.
Yeah.
I think if they just said something like that, people wouldn't be as bothered.
Well, because what do you think her motivation is really for doing that?
I have no idea, other than the fact that, as we have kind of been shown this season, being a superhero doesn't really pay.
Yeah. Well, I guess the question is, what I'm saying is, because she was so vehemently angry with Palmer for the way he weaseled his way into Queen and kind of used her, now she's working for him, and now she's getting all these perks and that great office, and she's the senior right hand man kind of thing now. Is it just a really shallow thing? Why is she doing that? She's got
bills to pay. She's got mouths to feed. Money doesn't grow on trees.
Is that all it is?
Well,
but I'm just saying, being serious about it. What?
I think there's a possibility that you could see Ray Palmer as a reflection of Oliver, and he's kind of doing what she always wanted from Oliver.
Well, yeah, there's that.
She has that big speech subject. She's like, "I will not get coffee."
I'm just saying she was so vehemently angry with him, though. And last episode, we didn't talk enough about this, but like the way that she turns around, says, "I'm quitting. That's what I'm doing." She leaves, and then later on she comes back. I guess what I'm asking is, do we buy that enough happened in between there that she changed her mind about it? I'm just not sure about it. I don't even want to come down one way or another right now. I can't decide.
Like, maybe there should have been a scene where she discusses it with somebody.
Yeah, I'm just not sure yet. That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead now and go on to today's episode. It's Corto Maltese, and as I said, Eric, the big thing I want to start with is I was just really surprised by stuff in this episode. It didn't go anything like where I thought it would. It was refreshing, and I know last year we talked a lot, or last season we talked a lot about this show ramps things up. It does things faster than you expect. This is kind of that, in that she gets brought back to Starling City way before we thought she would.
Yeah, no, I definitely didn't expect that.
But at the very same time, everything about the plotting and pacing and stuff is a great deal slower, and I'm finding that all really refreshing.
Yeah. Well, it's like we said last week. This season seems more deliberately paced.
That's what I agree with you. I think because I said that, and then you said it too.
And now I'm saying it again.
Yes, and I agree with us.
We are correct, sir.
But anyway.
But I was shocked by the fact that it didn't look anything like those pictures in Batman '89. I mean, there were bodies all over the place, and
the bodies, the skulls. I don't know if it's art, but I like it.
Whereas here, it looked like a livable, like, all right place.
And it was very orange.
It was very orange.
There was some, yeah. I mean, there was a little bit of third world about it, right? Like,
yeah. Oh, yeah. It's not New York.
Yeah. I want to go through some random notes. First thing is, Oliver is an unreliable narrator even in the opening "I Am Oliver Queen" bit. Because yes, because in the first 2 seasons he used to do the opening saying "after 5 years on a hellish island," and then we find out that he actually wasn't on the island for the whole 5 years, and he went to China, and now he says after 5 years in hell. So he was an unreliable narrator even in those things, because he didn't want to tell the audience that he was ever off island.
Well, to be fair, they've been hinting at it since season 1 with the Russian stuff.
They have, so he's lying to us. I think that's hilarious. I just want to throw that out there.
You know, I noticed when I watched it that something was different about the opening, but I couldn't put a pin in it, and that's what it was.
That's what it is. After 5 years in hell. I mean, I like that he's saying that now. It's cool, but it's like he's an unreliable narrator. He's been lying to us the whole time, Eric.
You can't trust him. Said that. He just lifted his arms to the sky and said, "Wanda."
So Malcolm Merlyn has been everywhere there is.
Yes.
I start having amusing mental pictures. It's like he's been to Disney World. Malcolm's been everywhere. That line made me laugh.
Somebody walks past like his art room, and there's like a Donald Duck, and he's like, "Where do you think he got this? Six Flags?" He's like, "Disney World." How do you know that? Because I got it at Disney World.
Let's get the Thea Malcolm stuff knocked out of the way. She says that the reason she went to Malcolm was because she wants to learn how not to feel pain at all. And I like that immediately because she's trying to basically become what Oliver has turned into, and that's already been playing this season with Oliver trying to not feel Sarah's death and not have feelings at all, and the whole question of how much of your humanity are you losing and all of that kind of stuff. So I like it better, but I still don't know if I buy her immediately going to him like that. You know, as quick as she does it, because basically, if you go back to last season, it's a knee-jerk reaction to finding out about Roy.
Right. Well, not just Roy, but also that he's her father, and there's a lot of stuff that happens right before that. And her mom just died. Yeah,
I know that, but remember that she knew that stuff a couple, 3-4 episodes before that. The real catalyst.
To leave anyways.
Yes, but this was sure. I think the reason a lot of people are questioning it is because this is right after she tried to kill him, and so like now she's seeing him as a way to become something different so she can cope with this. Which I can kind of see, but I just think it's all too fast.
Well, she's kind of using him, and we see at the end of the episode, she also just kind of throws him away.
Yeah. I guess the only thing that I'm still questioning with it is just that she makes that choice so fast after one more lie, which seems to be the least of them, really. It's like, okay, and now I know what Roy is doing, and he's been lying to me about stuff this whole time, and so now I don't know. It just seems a little bit melodramatic to me, even in her situation. If that's what she had done in the first place. But see, then could she have? Because she didn't even know Malcolm was really still alive. So I don't know. I just feel like not enough time passed before she decided to go with him. That's the only thing I'm complaining about right now.
There is a scene where Malcolm says something about, like, you're going to go back to them with all their lies, and I'm the only person that's ever been honest to you. And, like, I had, like, a thing where I was like, how long can you cling to that? Like, is that really your only argument for why she should be here?
That's my point, though, is it makes me wonder if she's not, if they're not characterizing her a little bit too simplistically with that. But then this episode, I thought that she was coming alive a bit, so...
Well, and so the thing that I was talking about where I was like, well, there's stuff in this that could go another way later.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have this weird feeling that we're going to find out she's working for Merlin, and all of the scenes where she leaves Merlin are just red herrings for the audience, and when you look back at them, they're going to feel like, so are they just pretending to have this conversation, or... I have this feeling that she's still working for Merlin.
If they go there, I don't buy it at all, and it's really retroactive, like some of that stuff was at the end of last season, with blood and stuff. Like, I would resist that super hard. I don't think that's what it is. I hope you're wrong. I hope I can trust the show to not do that.
Because honestly, where we are right now, I only see two ways of her going. One is that she's working for Merlin, and the other one is that she becomes part of Team Arrow.
Yeah, which is what I think they're going to do.
BD2 or something.
The thing is, I think that this whole season is about Oliver turns everyone into himself.
Maybe so.
And if that's where they're going with it, because they're doing that... Here's the thing, there are too many parallels to what she's doing.
Felicity. Wouldn't it be interesting if Felicity took the company from Roy Palmer,
yeah,
and has this moment of being like, I did what you would do.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm just saying that there are so many similarities to what Laurel is doing to what Thea is doing that if Thea just turns out to be still with Merlin, I don't know. I mean, it just kills everything that's cool about this episode, and that's interesting moving forward.
I feel like there's going to be this great temptation to have an episode end with her, like, shooting somebody with an arrow and being like, what's going on? I just feel like that's lingering there.
See, the thing is, she wasn't trained long enough. I mean, I'm questioning a little bit of, I don't know if you were there long enough to even, like, not wince when you get the coffee on you and stuff like that, you know? I mean, like...
You take down 3 guys with a wooden katana?
Yeah, I mean, 6 months...
I actually have a complaint about the whole water thing.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, first of all, I love that they introduce it where he puts the bowl there, and you're like, oh, okay, she's going to do the slapping thing.
Yeah.
You can train yourself to not feel pain. You can't train your body to not bubble and, like, melt.
I had the same thing. When they did that, I was like, there should be a 3rd-degree burn there. Like, I had this momentary, I had this weird momentary thing where I was like, is it actually burning her, and wouldn't hot water burn you? And, like, it made me question physics for a second. I was like...
And I'm not an expert on Eastern meditation, nor do I play one on TV, but I think that's something you have to turn on. I don't think you just stop feeling. So, like, when the coffee spills on her, I feel like the way that works is you have to... Like, that's a mental state, right? Like, that's...
It is.
You wouldn't just not feel anymore.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I think that you could get good enough at it that when it happened, even
the second pain hits, you can turn it off.
Or you could at least make your face go to a place where no one can tell that you're hurting.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But I don't know if 6 months is enough time. What I'm hoping is that she's not suddenly good at everything just because she was there for 6 months, because it took Oliver 5 years.
Right.
You know, and that I buy more. And so I'm hoping that we don't get in a place where everybody at the end of the season is as good at Oliver as everything, and they're all in costume. That's.
And did you think it was weird that she had to work a job?
No, I didn't even think about it.
She's there with her really rich dad to be trained to be whatever he's training her to be, and she has to work like a regular like coffee job. Like, what is that?
I didn't. Yeah, good call. I don't know. I didn't think about that. Maybe that's part of her training. I don't know. But
you have to learn to deal with customers.
But to get back on track with where things are going in the season, with her, the idea of her just using him is really the only way that what happened last season even remotely makes sense. So I really hope that he didn't somehow in those 6 months manage to get her more on his side. I don't buy it, and I don't feel like the flashbacks gave us any indication whatsoever of that. Like the way that he gets her to start training with him by acting like a, I mean, like she's like, oh man, you're a crazy sicko coming at me like this, and he's like, now we're ready to begin, that kind of thing. Like, I don't buy that she's suddenly with him.
I'm gonna bring something up that might be a little touchy. I don't know if you picked up on this. Did it feel like they had a weird sexual chemistry?
No, I didn't pick up on that.
There's a scene near the end. And I was like, it feels like they're into each other, and that's weird. And I know women love John Barrowman, so that might have just been the actress not being able to turn that off. But there's a scene near the end where they're talking, and I was like, this feels like a couple breaking up.
Okay. I mean, I didn't have that.
I'm just
so,
asking if you picked up on that.
Yeah,
it was a weird thing.
I didn't. I mean, I feel like he is trying to see more of a relationship than is there, and that she's maybe liking him, just not who he is and what he does, but just liking being around him more, having been there for so long and all of that. I think the relationship is
it's the first father figure in 5 years.
Yeah, I think that relationship is going to continue to get complicated. I think that if she were put in a position now where she had to kill him, it would be a lot harder for her, obviously. Obviously.
There is a relationship there now.
Yeah, and that's cool. But like I said, I think where it's going is Oliver, at the beginning of the season, first episode, tries to have a personal life and lead these two lives and put the Arrow one aside when he needs to. And the whole point of the new Vertigo was that Heath Ledger Joker, you've changed things. And so now his past keeps coming back to haunt him, but also everything that he's affected, there's this whole actions and consequences thing where he's going to be stuck continuing to be Arrow because he's taken it too far. And that now extends to everyone he knows. He's affected everybody, and now it's like he created a monster, and now everybody's becoming Arrow, and that's interesting, and I hope that's where it continues to go.
Well, I have a question that didn't occur to me last episode, that did when they did the recap. Why is now the time to get Thea? I would feel like when you just made this major decision to cut off all normal personal ties and just be the Arrow mostly, that would be the worst time to go get Thea, right?
It happened because he found the letter.
Oh, yeah.
Because he didn't know what he thought she was in a different place, and found out that she's not there at all. So he's got to go. Now, you're right, it's not just he's worried about her. He says it's time. I'm with you. I had the same thing where he's like, it's time to bring her home. I think what he was saying when he said that this episode was, we just lost Sarah. Thea is family. It's time for her to be back here with us, because and that's all about the whole, when Oliver at the end of this episode says, you might need me, you might not need me, but I need you. This is Oliver like clinging to family and to some humanity here, and I think that there's a lot of conflict of one moment he's trying really hard to put aside his emotions and put aside his humanity, and at other times he can't do that. I don't know if it's inconsistent yet, or if it's just conflict.
Well, that's something he's conflicted. The entire series.
Yeah, sure.
Right back to the beginning, because this is originally where he wanted to be to begin with.
Yeah.
He wanted nothing to do with Queen Industries or anything like that. So I think this is something that is a natural progression of issues he's had throughout.
Yeah, it is, but at the same time, I guess what I'm wondering
and with Sarah, there was also discussions of putting his personal stuff ahead of the mission type of thing, and letting emotions cloud.
What happens with this character sometimes, though, is he'll make a grandiose statement, I am this way now, and I'm going to stick to my guns and be like this, and then 5 minutes later, he can't do it anymore.
I'm not going to kill anymore?
Yeah. But that's not what I'm talking about. But yeah, I'm just saying, like last episode, it was I'm not gonna allow myself to feel Sarah's death, and I think Diggle and in Felicity might have gotten him to a place where he was able to at least do that, but the whole, I don't know, I'm in a place right now where I kind of feel like I just need to see where it goes and keep riding it out, because there are things that he's doing that I could see as inconsistent right now, but I just don't know yet. You know, because I just feel like where he was last episode in seeing everything that happened, like to Felicity, the first episode, and then to Sarah at the end of that episode, it was getting him to a place of, I have to be the Arrow, and I can't allow myself to be Oliver Queen. And then we get him all the way to, Thea, I need you because you're family. I don't know. What do you think? I mean, like, are you questioning this?
I wish Oliver was more talkative at points.
Because maybe what I'm getting at is we're not really quite in his head enough.
Yeah, well, it's like that thing, like, Batman doesn't talk to anybody, but Batman has Alfred, and he talks to Alfred. Oliver doesn't have an Alfred. Well, everybody with him is like war buddies. He doesn't really open up.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, he has, Diggle fills that void in that he's the voice of reason, but Oliver doesn't always tell him stuff. You're right.
Yeah, he doesn't have someone to confide in. And he had that with Sarah when they were dating. But he doesn't really have that character, so sometimes it's hard to figure out exactly what his motivations are, if he is being contradictory intentionally, or not for himself as a character, but writing-wise, they're intentionally writing him as someone who doesn't really know what he wants. He is being contradictory. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, and it's like, is that on purpose or not? I guess we'll see. Let's move on. How did you feel about the Argus subplot?
I was glad Diggle got something to do, finally. Yeah. They definitely saw Skyfall.
That's a good point.
And Skyfall definitely saw Mission Impossible 1, but,
and Dark Knight. I mean, it's just a full circle. It all comes back around.
It all comes back to Dark Knight. No, I thought it was okay. I didn't look this up. You might have it in comic references. Is he a character?
Oh, you know what? I didn't look that up.
Because when she first says it, the sentence is like is something along the lines of, like, I don't remember what his name is, but it's
Mark Shaw.
Yeah, Mark Shaw, which even sounds comic booky. But she says Mark Shaw doesn't go black or something like that. I was like, that's a weird sentence. Like, usually you don't use people's names like that, so I thought he might be a comic book guy.
He's Manhunter.
Okay.
Who's not a character I'm familiar with. What was...
I'm vaguely familiar with the girl Manhunter.
Okay. He's a Jack Kirby creation, 1975. I don't even know what he's in.
Manhunter.
Yeah.
Well, I know at some point he dies and there's a girl Manhunter. And I know very little bit about her. I don't know anything about him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's new to me. I mean, I've heard of that, but I don't know what it is. Yeah, okay.
Well, it doesn't help that there's also those robots that fly around, and they're called Manhunters. Also in the DC universe, also created by Jack Kirby, I think.
Yeah, for a minute, I kind of thought they put in the Argus subplot just to kind of pad the episode out. We gotta have something else over there so we can have, like, some fighting that happens, because Oliver's not really there to fight anything, and we don't have a big threat this episode. And I can kind of appreciate that, because I don't know what else they would have done. Like, it would have been I don't
think that's what that is.
Okay, alright. Well, but here's the thing. That's what I thought for a second. Obviously, what they're doing... I do think maybe it came from that place. I think maybe it came from... What's the fun, exciting action from this episode going to be?
Who can Oliver punch in Corto Maltese?
What's that?
I said, who can Oliver punch in Corto Maltese?
Yeah, exactly. I think that conversation likely happened, but then it was, what can we do to actually do stuff with Diggle and this whole family situation and stuff?
Yeah, I think it's all about Diggle. I think this is all part of his forward momentum as a character, which is great, because he was kind of stagnant for 2 seasons.
Yeah, and this family thing is really giving him something to do. I like it a lot. Like you said, finally he has something to do, but I feel like the whole getting Lila back and having a baby and stuff is enough, because that is kind of the life Oliver wishes he could have, but Diggle is still a part of that world, so there's this question of, is Diggle going to be able to hang on to that? Like he has this really stable life now, but he keeps getting dragged back into it, and I also think that Lila's a huge question mark. As far as what that's going to do to his life, because there's all this stuff about what Waller does to people.
I have this feeling that Lila is going to do something that's going to cross a line for Diggle.
I think so too.
Or we'll at least get to a point where Waller asks her to do something, and we have a big dramatic moment where she has to choose between her family and doing something she can't come back from or something like that.
Eric, I think it's been telegraphed. Last episode, she had the line, I do what Waller tells me to.
I thought that was in this episode.
Was it in this episode? She says that somewhere,
I think so.
And I think that is telegraphing exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, no. There's something...
Because Waller is scary. I mean, I do too, but I mean, Waller's really scary, obviously. You remember the stuff that she was doing last season, and obviously this season with the Chinese stuff is really building the oh man, Waller will do anything stuff. So, like, we need to watch out for Lila. I think Diggle is about to have his own crucible on top of everybody else's.
Yeah, no, I really like that Diggle has a plot line. I like that we've gotten away from his brother, because it felt like the only time Diggle ever got to do anything was involved with Deadshot and his brother.
Yeah.
But and more than that, it's not something that just goes, up to this point, it's not something that just goes away for 6 episodes and then comes back. He has a consistent thing he's doing with his life now. I feel like everyone right now in the cast is having an arc at once. Maybe separate arcs, but they're all arcing at once, which I think, while they've done well with a larger cast, I think this is the first time I really felt like this. That everyone is moving somewhere.
And what's helping is that at least so far, it's not all about a big, huge, giant master plan. We're letting all these characters... I mean, it feels really character-driven right now. There are places where I don't know how well that's working, but they're trying it, and I'm appreciating that. And they all feel very thematically connected. Like I said, I'm feeling... It's almost like Oliver is his own big bad this season.
At least so far, yeah.
So far, and I kind of hope it keeps going that way. We'll see. Let's run through some other stuff real fast, because there's a bunch of little things we haven't talked about. One of them is, I just have some questions. Is Roy having physical reactions to getting off the Mirakuru? Is that what's going on there?
It seems to.
Because there's that moment where she's like, where Thea's like, "Are you okay? You look sick," and he kind of brushes it off, and there's something going on there. And I don't know what that is.
Implication there, because he says, "I'm just tired." I thought the implication was he's been overexerting himself just being Arsenal. I thought that was what they were going.
That makes sense if that's all it is, but I never buy that on a TV show like this. Anytime somebody calls out something like that and somebody's like sweating and stuff, I always think that like they're sick with like a illness that's going to kill them or so. I don't know. And I don't want to read too much into it. Maybe there isn't anything going on there, but I found myself wondering, wait a minute, did I miss something? Is he still going through Mirakuru stuff and I just don't know about it?
I just took it at face value as he's been exerting himself. It's specifically at nights.
That makes perfect sense, and I mean, if that's what it is, that's great. I mean, so far, this season has been more about just the like kind of regular people dealing with vigilante stuff, and not the more out there comic book stuff so far. So I don't know. But I guess I just asked about it because I was like, did I miss something? Was there something in there about that? I don't think there was. When I don't buy that Thea doesn't know at this point that Oliver is the Arrow.
Yeah,
I just don't buy it either. Because
I don't buy that Merlin wouldn't have told her.
He may have some kind of ulterior motive for not doing that. I hope we find out what it is if that's the case. That's a good point. But what I was thinking wasn't the big thing that she found last year like his bow and arrow or his mask or something?
No, I don't think so.
Well, what was it that she found in his apartment that made her go, "Oh, he's been lying to me"? Like, she found something.
don't remember.
You remember, like, didn't he leave something out, and that's why she knew he was lying to her?
No, it was that Merlin took her and told, or no, it was Slade. Slade took her and said that everyone had been lying to her and that this is who her dad was, and Oliver had been keeping it from her.
She knew all that, but in the very last episode, there was a catalyst. There was one thing. She went to Roy's apartment and he left something out, and like he was the last holdout. He was the last person she didn't think was lying to her. That's what I'm talking about. It was
with Roy, yeah, because she knew that he was going out and helping the vigilante.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that immediately pieces together Green Arrow.
Here's why it should. Here's my point, though. No, but that's my point. Is that doesn't she know that he's been helping out the Arrow? And if she knows that, and then Oliver's there with him, I don't know how she's not piecing this together.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Can I talk about the flashbacks?
Yeah, sure.
Not necessarily thematically, but structurally.
Yeah.
Does it feel weird to only 3 episodes in jump to a different flashback? I know we've done different flashbacks before. I felt like we just started moving on the flashback plot, and we just stopped it to do the flashbacks in this episode.
I was fine with it just because I'm not really excited about
for this episode.
I'm not excited about the China stuff yet, and I really wanted some gaps filled in with the Thea thing, and I got that, so I was fine with it.
See, I'm not excited about the China thing either, which is why it bothered me. I was like, I want you to give me something that will get me excited about this season's island story.
I don't disagree with you. It's not something I thought of.
Okay. And have we not seen Oliver go on planes before and show up somewhere else with a bow?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I thought it was weird that they called out. Maybe it's because he doesn't own his own private jet anymore and he has no money?
That must be what it is, yeah. Now, how did he get the money to make that trip? See, your face is doing what my face did, because he has no money. He's been talking about having no money, and you could anything I could throw out there. Maybe he got it from Felicity. No, that doesn't make any sense. Maybe he because they're not really. I don't know, I don't think she would do that. I guess it's the only one that it could possibly be, because Diggle wasn't even going with him on the trip until he was later. So it's like, how was he gonna finance this trip?
Roy got inheritance, and I'm sure it's explained in the season 2.5 comic book.
I don't know. It's just when in the first episode we've got that like bracelet or whatever it was that Arrowhead that he gives to Felicity, and she's like, you can't afford this. I'm like, well, but it seems like a plane ticket to Corto Maltese would not be cheap.
This is a problem TV has a lot.
I know it does, but
heroes have this problem too. We had characters who were on modest incomes, but they can globetrot around.
And look, you can't use the Tony Stark comic book Matt Fraction excuse. You can't do that. You can't say my broke is different than your normal person broke.
Yeah.
But see, this is the thing that I've been complaining about with S.H.I.E.L.D. lately, is that I can't figure out how in the world S.H.I.E.L.D. has any money to do anything they're doing. And then you get to this, and I've been appreciating that I've been buying it up to this point. But then he makes this plane trip, and I don't know how he did it. Anyway.
I do really like the MacGyver bows.
So I haven't been on a Mac computer in 10 years, and I wish somebody would tell me what the Mac Skype-ish program Diggle was using to talk to Lila is, because since it is a Mac computer, I'm sure that's the Mac equivalent, whatever
I'm sure it's MacBook Talk.
Whatever is that what it is? I was just curious.
I made it up off the top of my head.
Oh, okay. I'm just curious. What is that program? Somebody tell me. I want to know, because I was curious. What else should we?
All the experts of Manhunter, tell us if this is accurate.
Or if it's gonna be like the Deadshot tattoo thing, where we just gotta wait for a while until he turns into real Manhunter.
Or the Tom and Grundy thing, where we're still waiting for real Manhunter to show up.
I said recently in Flash discussions that I think, or maybe I just said this to Dan off camera, I forget, that I think that he is liable to show up in Flash.
That would be great.
I think that'll happen.
Him and Bill Grodd will team up.
I really was fine with Laurel this episode.
I really liked her. I thought when she goes with the baseball bat and then kind of realizes that she doesn't have that much combat training, and she gets the crap kicked out of her. And then when she goes to the hospital and she's got legitimate wounds,
yeah,
I thought that was all really, really well done. There's a line I kind of don't like where she's like, when I'm wearing this jacket, I feel like I can do anything. And there's a point. Oh, it's when she walks into. I guess we should mention. Wildcat trained Black Canary in the comics. Wildcat's going to train Laurel.
Oh, okay. I didn't even pick up on that. Cool.
Yeah, he's significantly younger than Wildcat usually is, but he's part of the JSA, so... but there was a little bit of a cringe when she walks in with the jacket to get training, and I was like, you're not training a leather jacket. And this is... When Sarah wore it, it looked like a cool coat. Laurel looks like she's dressing up in a costume. And maybe that's intentional.
Also, but because I agree with you, but when we say that, we're projecting a little bit because we have been cringing and not wanting to see her turn into a Black Canary.
But I was okay with it earlier. So, I don't know.
But I'm just saying that at this point, after what we've seen her do, haven't we been so resisting this that we are looking at her as just a person that should not be a superhero? That like that actress like should not be in a superhero costume fighting crime. I mean, I'm looking forward to them making me buy it. I hope that happens because obviously that's where we're going now, and we knew last season that we were going to end up going this direction at some point. I don't know, I'm going to say this, and I feel weird saying this. I really disliked her all last season. I felt like she was really inconsistent, and I just got kind of tired of having to watch her in her spiraling out of control stuff.
And the ups and downs, I couldn't decide whether she was coming back or going down.
At the same time, I don't think you could have her in the place she is without some of that.
Well, I do like that she's like, I need to get this out of my system somehow, and I can't drink.
I need something other than drinking, yeah. So she had to have had that alcoholic slide. But I think it could have been handled better. I think I could have liked her more during that. You know what I mean? I think I could have appreciated it.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what we said all last season.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just saying that, like, it sucks that it sucks that I didn't like that stuff, and now I'm having to kind of like readjust myself. Where I'm like, this character, it seems like now she's who she should have been last season in certain ways. And I mean, yeah, she still should have done like some awful stuff when she was drunk and have the whole like she's on her own island. That stuff needed to happen. I just think I could have liked her more.
Well, you know, like when we got to the end of last season, and she set her hands on the jacket. It was very like this was not earned at all.
Yeah.
And I really cringed. I saw an interview with her where she talked about how great it was to have earned that jacket and how she like cried when they gave it to her. I was like, yeah, no. But again, this is me kind of re-putting my brain in a different place where I'm like, I know you did all of that badly, but you're saying that she's at this place, so I'm just going to take it at face value. This is where you're saying she is. I know that the road there didn't work, but this is where she is.
It hurts the piece on the whole, like this as a piece. It you know, it's still it's hurting it. But right now, I'm liking it a lot better, which is good because if I don't get any Sarah anymore, I need to like Laurel.
There's a little bit, and it's in that scene where she walks in with the jacket. There's a little bit. I feel like the actress is being a little cocky about it.
Yeah.
Like she really deserves this, and I don't know. She needs to take that jacket to a tailor because it doesn't fit her.
Does this, Eric, not seem like a universe where if you want to be a superhero or a vigilante or, like, learn how to, like, fight crime way better than the police ever could, it's really easy, and, like, there's, like, 60 places you could go, and it's like going through a drive-thru for a hamburger. It's, like, it's just really easy to become a vigilante, like a really good one.
Superhero universes are like that. I mean, Hawkeye was an archer for the circus. What makes him more physically qualified to fight things than Commissioner Gordon?
That's a good point. The only other thing I want to mention is that Felicity is General Zod when she says, "I will find him." It's one of the best. Yes.
I have one last note.
Go ahead.
I really like Brandon Routh in the show. That last scene in this episode where he's looking at the data, I had to watch 3 times because I could not figure out what emotion he was supposed to be conveying.
Well, would you explain it to me? Because I don't understand it now.
Well...
And you know what? I haven't been bringing up Palmer enough. Excuse me, because I still cannot figure this character out. I feel like he's slimy, but he's also endearing. Somehow, I don't get him yet. I'm still
really
waiting
think
to.
they're trying to make him a Tony Stark type character.
I know you keep saying that.
More for me than with you, but at that last scene where he pulls it up, all the weapons and stuff, I watched it 3 times. I'm not sure if he's put off by the fact that this is... I couldn't tell if this was him being put off by it, or if this was like his evil machination face.
Well, no. The sense I got I just didn't get why it was in her computer. Because
It's not. Because that's the data that was on the disk that she was fixing. Remember how he says this is all the R&D...
Oh, okay, yes.
Yeah, that's what that is.
I watched it twice and I didn't get that. Okay, all right. Thank you. Did you notice it said OMAG?
No, I did not notice that.
Okay, well, it's OMAG, so there's that.
Okay.
But, which isn't altogether, surprising, but that's what it is. But yeah, like when he's, no, I thought, I immediately thought that was like, oh man, I'm really angry. Something really horrible's happening, with my company.
I couldn't tell if it was that or if it was like at last I have access to the weapons of Queen Industries.
Well, I mean, he's not a bad guy. I mean, he's not supposed to be a villain.
It was just a weird, I want to say line read, but there was no line. Like, I couldn't get what I was supposed to be feeling.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I'm feeling that with this character on the whole. Hopefully I start... Like I just feel like one moment he's like charming but slimy and doing like backdoor stuff to get into this company, and the next moment, like last episode, he's giving Felicity the speech about how the important stuff money doesn't solve. I don't know how that goes together yet. I'm still trying to figure that out.
Well, I think his whole thing is altruistic might be the wrong word, but he's definitely ends justify the means. He has no problem throwing money at something so that he can get what he wants, because he thinks that what he wants will fix things. He thinks getting Queen consolidated, for whatever reason, will help him do what he wants to do, so throwing money at it doesn't matter. And, doing devious ways to take over the company doesn't matter. I think he's very much an ends justifies the means person.
But then at the same time, he's almost acting as if, like, that's okay because it's just business, but, like, the really important stuff, the life stuff, that doesn't solve.
Yeah.
Because he says that, and I don't know how those go together yet, because...
Well, he is only making $1 this year.
Yeah, that's true. He is only making $1 this year. Well, anyway. Obviously, I don't have enough of a sense of this to talk about it a lot, and that's why I haven't brought him up much. So anyway, I'm enjoying Brandon Routh in the role, but I hope I start getting the role a bit better.
This episode than the past two. I thought in the past two, it was a very clear. They're trying to do a Tony Stark, eccentric billionaire, heart in the right place, doesn't always do the right thing.
Yeah.
This episode, a little bit less of where he's coming from, but I thought... I like Brandon Routh in the role.
Well, let's go on to best moment, worst moment. Oliver! Eric, what was your favorite moment this episode, sir?
My favorite moment is actually, and we didn't even talk about this at all, but it's the scene where Laurel is in the hospital. I thought that Quentin was phenomenal in that. I just thought the range of emotion that he went through of being angry that she would do this, and also clearly there's some stuff with Sarah there. It was all about his acting for that scene. I thought he just did a wonderful job that scene, and she was good too.
Yeah, and he is always amazing. Especially those kind of scenes. I feel like if they had an actor who played things hammier than that guy, there was a lot of stuff Quentin says that we would just really hate.
Yeah.
My favorite moment and I'm really surprised I'm picking this, is the conversation that Oliver and Thea have that makes her decide to come back. And the reason I'm picking that is because I was really impressed that they chose not to have Oliver keep playing like Thea's stupid. That instead of I guess I kind of buy that Diggle sort of changes his mind about coming out and telling her everything. So instead of pretending like there aren't secrets, he says, I can't tell you everything. There's stuff. Now I still think she should know because of Roy, but when he's like, you know, I can't. I don't feel like I should tell you everything, but then tells her what happened to their father, and then that's the thing that makes her change her mind because of who her real family is. That's why, if you end up being right and she's actually still working for Merlin, that's gonna drive me insane. Because the whole thing that made her change her mind to go back was, I've chosen who my real family is. Like, what you're talking about would only work if it was another master manipulating kind of plan, and she had planned to go back with him from the moment that she saw him.
Yeah.
So anyway, but I thought they both played that scene really well. And
I really like that they brought back that his dad killed himself. We haven't really touched on that at all since the first episode. I don't know, did he even tell his mom that?
I don't remember if he ever told her that. I don't think he did. I'm not sure.
But I mean, I might be wrong, but I feel like that's the first time he's talked about that with anyone, at least on camera. I
want to say he explained it to Diggle.
You might be right.
I think there was a conversation about it a few episodes after the pilot. But anyway, I was really impressed with that scene. Like I said, I'm liking that I have no idea where Thea's going to go, and she could keep being way too, you know, melodramatic and teen angsty for my taste, even given all
I don't think she's going to be there.
Given all of the important reasons that you gave for why she should be going insane. But I
do think right now of the cast, she is the wild card.
I also hope they don't yo-yo us around with her and Roy. If they ever get back together again, that needs to stay solid.
At least for a while.
Until somebody dies.
Yeah.
Eric, what was your worst moment, sir?
My worst moment was the water scene. I could not get past the not bubbling skin.
Fair enough. I thought it was a cool idea.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. The only thing I don't like about it is that, but I like it otherwise. I have two, and they're both silly and minor. One of them is when Thea talks to Roy. Roy leaves, and Malcolm immediately comes out and walks next to Thea. And I'm like, what if Roy came back and was like, oh, I forgot my wallet. Hey, what are you doing here?
I should mention, as a side note, we have that quick cut of like where like it shows how Oliver made the bow from the stuff in the hotel room.
Mm-hmm.
One of the writers of the show, I think going into this, I talked about really not liking Mark Guggenheim because of various things he'd done. One of them was the Iron Man versus Whiplash miniseries, where he has the same scene, but somehow Tony Stark makes an Iron Man armor.
That's hilarious.
So that's my least favorite scene in this episode because it reminded me of another scene.
The other one was toward the end when Thea and Malcolm are fighting just before she leaves. And she says, "You let me win, didn't you?" Yeah, obviously. It was really obvious.
That was the scene where I was getting the sexual tension.
I thought, okay, but I thought that was really silly because he, like, obviously lets his guard down and then, like he's got her where he wants her, and then he just goes limp. And then she comes up with a sword and puts the sword up to his throat, and then she goes, "Hey, wait a minute! You let me win, didn't you?" I'm like, what? The part where he just went, "Come get me"? You weren't thinking about it then when that happened? Eric, did you have a favorite quote?
I did. It is Felicity's when when Ray Palmer asks her, "Is this a normal day for you?" and she says, "This is actually a good day." Which I forgot to mention. I really like that scene because that's all the stuff we normally expect of her, and when you put all of that stuff in a normal everyday life, it does seem insane.
I've got a couple. One is What's With Your Family and Islands?
I like that one.
I like that one. I also like Oliver's I never said I didn't know how to use a gun. That's come up before, but it was kind of fun. I am really digging him and Roy together right now. They're weirdly getting comedy mileage out of them.
Yeah, they play off of each other really well, which is weird because I didn't feel like that last season.
No, at all. Well, and that's because he was also doing some weird leaping before he looked stuff. When he was all, oh man, I hate you, Oliver, for all this stuff, and then the very next day, I'm gonna be Red Arrow now. But that moment when Oliver was like, "What are you doing?" and he's like, "No, you can't bring that ball on an airplane." I was like, "That's hilarious."
I'm gonna have a runner-up line of "Would you travel buddies now?"
Yeah, overall, I'm really appreciating that we're still managing to get enough levity in this show. And sometimes it comes from surprising places because of how heavy this stuff seems to be after Sarah's death. Let's go into you know what, I forgot to look up guest stars. We had the boxer guy and we had Mark Shawn. I didn't look up the actors.
Well, Wildcat was their last episode too.
Oh yeah, okay, I forgot about that. Comic references. So that guy is not actually Jerry Conway. That totally cracked me. I was like, "This is Jerry Conway." I'm like, "No, it's not." They have not often done that, where they'll just straight up take a comic creator and make them a random throwaway character in the scene.
Andy Diggle.
This is Jerry
Diggle's
Conway.
brother Andrew.
Well, that's true. That's the other one. But he was never on screen. We've never seen that guy.
That's true.
Okay, so we talked about Mark Shaw now. We looked him up. Corto Maltese, obviously, the OMAC thing. Did you have anything else?
No. I was just going to say Corto Maltese. Actually, last episode, I made a mistake. Because I made a Bane joke. And Bane's not from Corto Maltese. He's from Santa Prisca.
Santa Prisca,
Corto
yeah.
Maltese comes from Dark Knight Returns.
I knew that, and then I was like, I think I'm right about that, and then I was like, whatever, we're on to a new topic, I'm not even going to argue with you about it. Alright, let's go on to predictions and hopes. My big prediction, there's nothing major, my big prediction is, I think Ray Palmer will know that Oliver is the Arrow before the mid-season finale.
I think that's fair. I think Laurel will have a costume by the mid-season finale as well.
Wow, you think they'll do it that fast?
It might be like Mask of Zorro, where like it's not like the real costume, but I think she will have some semblance of a costume.
Something we didn't talk about, and this is part of what was making me say everybody's turning into Oliver, or turning into Oliver's Arrow persona, is I really, really liked their showdown at the end when he refuses to train her.
Yes.
And that was really strong. That had a lot to do with why I liked her this episode, was that scene.
And I think we've all but pretty much confirmed, at least foreshadowing-wise, she's going to stop being a DA or she's going to be fired.
She's going to have to, right? Well, I kind of figure she'll just stop showing up to work and stuff again.
And she did have, and I asked for this last episode, we got it this episode, she talks about how the law doesn't work and how there are people that slip through the cracks.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, I'm really... I don't think that whole thing is going to go too fast, but I definitely think by the mid-season finale we will have her in costume. Some kind of costume.
I hope it doesn't go too fast, because like I said, I don't want Thea to suddenly start being good at everything. She was only there 6 months, and things like that.
Oh,
but
yeah.
no, I'm just saying overall, I hope they don't rush these regular people turning into amazing crime fighters or vigilantes too quickly. You got to look at all of them at the same time because they're doing a bunch of that kind of stuff all at once. I also think it's going to be interesting to see when Laurel finally gets like fully trained. She's going to have a totally different fighting style than her sister had.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's going to be kind of neat. The second Black Canary will be totally different.
It'll be interesting to see if she maybe gets the like sonic bomb things from Nissa or something.
Oh yeah, good call.
Well, we didn't even mention Nissa. Do you have any predictions for what's going to happen with that?
I think it'll be that regular TV thing of Oliver will explain. She'll try to attack, and then Oliver will explain things to her, and then she'll help him investigate or something. I don't think anything major comes from that really, other than just getting the league back into this. I do think that like the whole league is probably going to be involved in trying to, or at least like more than just her, in trying to figure out who got, because of the whole like we don't hunt our own, we're loyal to each other. So they're probably going to try to figure out who did it. I
think next episode is going to be the first episode to really set up Ra's al Ghul. I think she's gonna it might even just be a line of like, Dad's not gonna like this or something like that. But I think this is the episode where we're gonna start seeing what we know is the overarching plot start to show itself.
Let's go. Well, let me ask you one more question. Do you think there is a giant master plan this season?
It doesn't seem like it thus far.
I mean, it really seems like whoever killed Sarah, that could really be an isolated incident and not part of something a lot bigger. I'm hoping so.
I think maybe it will be, instead of being one giant master plan, it'll be a chain reaction that leads to a big event at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Sarah's death leads to this, which leads to this, which leads to Ra's al Ghul deciding to get rid of Star City.
And I think the really sad thing is that, like, Sarah's death, like, Sarah tries to have, not a normal life, because she's with the League of Assassins, but, like Sarah tries to have a personal life on top of being this vigilante kind of character, and then she ends up dying and paying the price for it. Whoever it is that kills her, it's obviously gotta be because she's leading this double life, right? And then her death is the catalyst that makes all these other people become vigilantes and possibly follow in her footsteps. And that's all really sad.
Well, and I'm wondering if maybe Ra's al Ghul might be a slight red herring, because we know he's in this season. They've been hyping him up. Maybe he's not the big bad. Maybe Sarah's death leads to Nissa being the big bad at the end of the season. Or something along those lines.
Or something, yeah. I feel like if you're going to have the League of Assassins, at some point they and Oliver have to go at it at some point, yes?
I'm really hoping that it's not a master plan.
Me too.
We've had that twice now, and it's going to be, again, difficult to have some kind of, like, well, I've been playing this the whole time. Why did you wait 7 years to enact your plan?
Yeah. Okay, so let's go on to trivia questions now. And Eric, what was your trivia question from last week, and what was the answer, sir?
My trivia question from last week was, how many times has Oliver Queen lost his company, not just gave it away, because there's a point where he gives his company away. And the answer is 3. He loses it once in the classic Green Arrow Green Lantern run, which was really part of the thematic thing where he represented liberals, so it would make sense to take away his company and make him kind of live a normal life. The second time is, unless you count him dying, because obviously he loses his company when he dies.
He loses the Earth, Eric. He loses everything.
Actually, I guess I'm wrong, because he wouldn't have gotten his company back, so he wouldn't lose it again. So the second time he loses it is in the Fall of Green Arrow, Rise of Arsenal.
Oh yeah.
Event right at the beginning of J.T. Krall's run, yep. And then obviously in Jeff Lemire's stuff.
And the first person who got that right was Comics Kid 2099. Good job to you, our trivia guru, Comics Kid 2099. And my question from last time was, what kind of animal was Sarah's stuffed animal that Laurel is holding in that really sad scene at the end of toward the end of last episode? And do you remember what it was?
It's a whale, right, or a dolphin?
No, it's a shark.
Oh, is it a shark?
It's a shark, and actually,
I remember it's pink.
And it's funny too, because actually, now that I'm looking at this, I actually wrote down a person who said dolphin. And so, good job, Danny Nixon, being the first person to answer, but you actually didn't get it right. So whoever said shark after that, you win. But I don't have that person's name. Oops, because I'm looking at this.
If they got it first or not. They'll just know that they did in fact answer shark.
That's right, because I'm looking at this and I'm going, wait a minute. The answer was shark. So anyway, sorry about that, but the answer was shark. And now we're going to go on to today's trivia questions. And Eric, did you write a trivia question from the comics again?
I always do a trivia question.
Yeah. Oh, good. We have a trivia question for you. What is it, sir?
This one's going to be kind of an easy one, but this episode kind of had Roy, so I wanted to do a Roy question. What is the drug that Roy is actually addicted to in the comics? Everybody knows Roy was a drug addict. What's the drug he's actually addicted to?
It's not Mirakuru?
It's not Mirakuru.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's also not Venom.
It's not Venom? Oh, is it Viper? It's not Viper. Oh, okay. Okay. So he didn't like get on a drug and then lift up something really heavy and then 3 hours later totally get crushed by it and die. That didn't happen.
No, and he doesn't take nondescript pills and try to like walk off a building like Harry Osborn.
Oh, okay. That's good. Okay, cool.
He takes a real drug from the real world.
You took all my guesses. I got nothing. My trivia question this week is...
You only know fake drugs.
Yes, those were the... Well, I assume it must be a fake drug. Maybe it was... You know what? It probably wasn't a fake drug.
Your entire life's going to unravel. You're going to lose everything. You're going to go to a drug dealer and be like, do you have Mirakuru?
Wait a minute! Was it Vertigo?
It's not.
Oh, it's not Vertigo! God. I don't have... Man, I can't think of any real drugs, Eric. My trivia question is not about drugs. My trivia question is, name 2 things, there are many, name 2 things Oliver used from the hotel room to make the bows and arrows that he used in Corto Maltese. 2 of the items...
Is it the King James Bible? Is that one of the...
No, I don't think it was. No, try to come up with real things. Oh, wait. Yeah, I know. That was my joke, Eric. Don't ruin my... Anyway, so that's my question. If you think you know the answer to my or Eric or both of our questions... By the way, lately a couple people have said that, is it okay if I answer both? Yes, it is okay if you answer both. Send me a message on Geekvolution.com. Go to Geekvolution.com, click on the contact page, and send me your answer to one or both of these trivia questions. And thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. We will see you again next week with more rousing Arrow discussions. I am Captain Logan.
Eric.
We'll see you later.